for Iran in the long run? Is it restarting that nuclear program? Is it waiting out the administration and restarting negotiations?
I thought she had such great analysis. I could have talked to her for a really long time. But let's get back to today, right now. How can the Qatar connection ease these tensions, perhaps? I sat down with the Vice President for Research at FDD, Dr. Jonathan Schanzer. Dr. Schanzer, we know that the President and the Emir of Qatar met today. In the background, looming is the Iran crisis. What do you expect the two men talked about when it comes to the future?
Well, the Qataris have, over the last couple of years, really broadened their relationship with the Iranians in terms of finance. We've seen banking relationships flourish, trade relationships flourish, and overall cooperation has broadened, primarily because the Qataris have been under blockade by their neighbors, the Saudis, the Emiratis, and the Bahrainis. So they haven't had a whole lot of choice in terms of who they partner with in the region. So it'll be interesting to see whether the Trump administration, which is known to be rather close to the Saudis and the Emiratis, how they're able to navigate this. Can they try to make things a little bit easier for the Qataris with their other neighbors so that Iran pays the price in the end?
What is the primary factor here with Qatar and Iran? Is it religious? Because so many times we hear about tensions between Shia and Sunni, but my understanding is that Qatar is primarily Sunni, or is it more financial, like you invest in me, I invest in you?
There's certainly that. I think there's also the fact that the Qataris and the Iranians share a massive gas field in the Persian Gulf. So they have been forced to work together. Also, you have to remember the Qataris the country of Qatar is tiny. They have a lot of security concerns. It's one of the reasons why they have a massive U.S. base that is placed right there in the country. But at the same time, even as the U.S. is operating out of there in many ways to counter the Iranian threat, they still maintain those good ties. They're kind of all things to all people in the region. They play all sides. This is what the Qataris are known for.
How do we leverage this in such a way that we get something out of it that we want? Like, what do we give them?
So I think that's really the question that I would be asking right now as the Emir meets with top leaders here in Washington. I think the answer is we can probably get them to draw down on some of their ties with Iran as long as we're able to figure out a way to find them alternatives in the Middle East. And so that will be one of the things that I think the Trump administration will be working on. The Qataris also, I think, want to make sure that they can buy American weaponry. And so that may be something else that we offer them in return for some of the things that they're doing. But really, I think another interesting point that may come up in all of these meetings is the fact that the Qataris support the Muslim Brotherhood. And we know that the Trump administration has talked about cracking down on the Brotherhood, possibly designating as a terrorist organization. So the question is, does the Trump administration have the kind of leverage to push the Qataris to distance themselves from this broader network?
Will it be Qatar? Will it be Oman? Will it be Iraq? We don't know, but we know the administration is looking for avenues back into Tehran to make a little progress. In the headlines tonight, Democratic leaders are calling for the resignation of Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta. They charge he mishandled the investigation and the plea deal of Jeffrey Epstein, the first time the billionaire faced sex trafficking allegations a decade plus. Earlier this week, Epstein was once again in court accused of operating a sex trafficking ring, assaulting dozens